All right, welcome back to the channel, to the last version of Rubbing It In on Dillian White. Man, I'm still happy. So, Dillian White gets knocked out by Alexander Povetkin, and Tyson Fury's manager, Frank Warren, cannot help but dig him. I'm telling you, man, it's like UK boxing is wild, man. Let's talk about what Frank Warren said to Dillian White and what Dillian White, this is why people don't like Dillian White, right? That's why I don't like Dillian White, because Dillian White says something crazy to Frank Warren. Dude, you just got knocked out. Shut up. But let's talk about it in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Dillian, I don't know if you've heard, Dillian White got knocked out by Alexander Povetkin in a crushing defeat where he lost his WBC mandatory position for the winner of the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight, right? So he is no longer in the running for that belt. And there ain't no amount of magic that is going to make that pop back up. Well, not enough magic, maybe some money. You know what I mean? Like, give Eddie Hearn a little time to slip something to Mauricio Sulaiman. He might be back in the mix. But as of right now, the WBC says no time frame whatsoever to decide on a new mandatory. And whenever the new mandatory is named, the champion, whoever the champion is, when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight, after that fight, whoever wins it, they don't have to fight it. They don't have to fight a mandatory for another year. For another year. So, Dillian, we don't even know when the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight is going to happen. It may be in December. It may be in February, right? So let's just say it's in February, because I think more than likely it's going to be in February, out in 2021. But let's just say it's in 2021. Dog, you ain't getting a fight to 2022, homie. And it's still 2020. So, no go, dog. Been real tough on him. So, Frank Warren comes up with a great solution. A great solution. One that I think that Dillian White needs to do right away. Don't rematch Alexander Povetkin. What's that going to do for you? You beat Alexander Povetkin. If you beat Alexander Povetkin. And that's a big if, seeing as he just knocked you cold, spark out. Ain't that how they say it? Dillian White, knock you spark out. Since he just knocked you spark out, there ain't no guarantee. So why not do what Frank Warren says, which is, and this is for real, all jokes aside, if boxing was right, they would do what Frank Warren wants to do. Frank Warren wants, and you know why he wants it, but Frank Warren wants to have a set of matches, boxing matches, between Queensberry's fighters and Matchroom's fighters. See, this is the UK's version of this. It would be like, let's have all of the champions for the PBC, but you'd have to combine Golden Boy and Top Rank together probably to match up with the PBC champions. Regardless, we're going to have all your best fighters fight all our best fighters, and then we have 7 or 8 great fights. We both make amount of money, and the fans are happy, right? That's what they want to do over there in the UK. They were like, let's have Dillian White fight Daniel Dubois. Let's have, I don't know who else they have. Nathan Gorman versus Joe Joyce, and on and on and on and on and on, right? No, Joe Joyce, I think Nathan Gorman and Joe Joyce are probably with Queensberry. So Dave Allen versus Nathan Gorman, and all those names, man. Who is with B2? And he came up with this list of fights that he wants to make. Now, you know why Frank Warren wants to make it? He wants to make it because Frank Warren's got the advantage over Matchroom, and he wants to press it. He wants to challenge him in public, right? So they turn down the fights, because right now, dude, there was a time Matchroom Boxing was 2 years ago, was killing it in the UK, owning the UK, taking over the UK, running it. Not no more. Not no more. BT, Frank Warren right there with him, right? Or close to him. Got a nice little stable of fighters, domestic level fighters and good fighters. So make the fight, right? Now, here's where the thing happened between Dillian White and Frank Warren. And this is what I'm telling you too, dude. This is why people don't like Dillian White and why people will celebrate the man's losses. Frank Warren is goes back and forth with Barry Hearns about setting up a meeting to make these fights. Barry Hearns says, man, I ain't trying to make them fights. He said, well, you don't have, if you don't come, Frank Warren talking to Barry Hearn, well, it's a shame because I'm supposed to be sitting down having a meeting with your son, Eddie Hearn, and I think the guy from Sky Sports, right? To see if they could arrange some pay-per-view combination between Sky Sports and BT. So Barry Hearn says, nah, he's not going to do it. Then Frank Warren says something. Frank Warren says something about how they wanted to make the fight between Daniel Dubois and Dillian White. And Dillian White out of nowhere pops up into his stream and says, what he called? Fish-eyed something. Called him a fish-eyed scumbag. I'll put it up in the chat. Called him a fish-eyed, what's a cuss word? You know, effing fish-eyed something. Just insults him all out the blue. Doesn't even put like a comment in there. Just insults him. Right? That's Dillian White. When in doubt, insult somebody. When you lose, point the finger at somebody else. So Frank Warren responds, man, hilariously and says, man, look, maybe you missed a couple days. Maybe you missed a couple days. All right, after you got knocked out, because it's Wednesday. Maybe you got knocked out and missed a couple days. But I was being, why are you so negative? I'm not being negative. I'm just positive that both Daniel Dubois and what's the other guy's name? Slow Joyce. Man, Joe Joyce is the slowest boxer in the history of boxing. I just got to put that to the side. I am amazed that this guy can land a punch on somebody. He comes like, and he still lands the punch. I do not understand it, dude. He did a backflip that took like 3 seconds. But it's like he's standing in the middle of the air. He's so slow. It's incredible. But anyway, yeah, dude, that's where Dillian White is, though. That's where Dillian White is. Dillian White is in a situation where he would be smarter fighting Daniel Dubois. Because if you can beat Daniel Dubois, you can build yourself up. And people can say, hey, man, you know, you beat this young, up-and-coming heavyweight. One of the best dudes there, Tyson Fury, is saying that Daniel Dubois will knock you out. Just fight Daniel Dubois, right? What else you got to do? You ain't got no fight lined up with nobody that ain't already knocked you out. You don't got no fight lined up with somebody that ain't already knocked you out. So take the Daniel Dubois fight. If you beat Daniel Dubois, dude, you are right back on the top. You put Queensberry Promotions to death because that's one of their best young fighters. And it seems like it's a win-win, right? No. Dillian White ain't going to do that. Eddie Hearn ain't going to do that. And let me assure you as well. Anthony, I'm not going to assure you of this, but I doubt this. I wonder whether what I'm going to say is the case. I'm not 100% sure that Anthony Joshua would fight Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder when they win. Because that's not what Matchroom Boxing has been trying to set up for the last couple years. And they, from what I can see, they are very systematic and consistent people, right? They have an understanding of the sport of boxing and that they can make more money with fights where they represent both guys. So what they tried to do with the heavyweight division is they tried to find a way to collect all the belts into the heavyweight division and have Anthony Joshua be the champion of 3 of them and Dillian White be the champion of 1 of them, so they could always have championship fights. Instead of having 2 championship fights a year, heavyweight championship fights a year, they could have 4 heavyweight champion fights a year, right? And they could have multiple fights like that in a lead up to a matchup between Dillian White and Anthony Joshua if Dillian White had been able to beat Deontay Wilder. But they never wanted Dillian White to risk himself against people that could beat him, that were not promoted by them that could beat him. So he turned down the fight against Luis Ortiz. He turned down the fight against Dominic Brazil. They turned down the fight against Pulev. Why? So he could fight Chisora. Chisora is a bigger fighter. Yeah, but didn't Chisora just start working with Matchroom? I know Chisora was fighting on a different network, but Chisora has had fights with multiple people over there. So he's in the same little group. They don't want to fight. Dillian White did not want to fight anybody that was outside the control of Matchroom Boxing. And Daniel Dubois is outside the control of Matchroom Boxing. Tyson Fury is outside the control of Matchroom Boxing. Luis Ortiz is outside control of Matchroom Boxing. They even pulled Luis Ortiz in to help Anthony Joshua duck Luis Ortiz. So I find the whole thing funny. The crumbling of, I'm looking forward to the complete restart of the heavyweight division in the UK, because I have a lot of appreciation for the UK and your boxing community and I would say your fans. Dog, y'all are really into boxing, and some of y'all, there's so many people into boxing over there that there's a lot of people that don't know very much about it, right? But talk a lot. So you credit to them. Those type of guys I don't really care for, but the real, like the long-standing UK boxing fans and the boxing scene, dude, I wish the United States had a boxing scene like the UK. So I have tremendous respect for it. But with Eddie Hearn and the gamesmanship going on with Eddie Hearn and the ducking that Deontay Wilder fight, then the cheating by Tyson Fury, the fact that two of their top three heavyweights have popped dirty for performance-enhancing drugs and been suspended for multiple years, it's just, I want to be a fan of Daniel Dubois. I'm hoping the best for Daniel Dubois. I do believe that he, from what I can see, is the best of the young heavyweights that have been promoted, right? There may be somebody out there that's really not being promoted as much that you're not being able to see. So that, I might have to go to Mr. Boxing Today to check that out, because that's really a guy that really knows from the top to the bottom of the heavyweight division. Anyway, been on a little bit long on this, but let me just cut it out to say that I'm not going to do too many more Dillian White videos because, it's not worth my time, and he got knocked out. But I had a fun time gloating over it in this video, and definitely enjoyed the banter, the cheeky banter between Frank Warren and Dillian White. You let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for your support and chopping it up with me to talk about boxing on a daily basis. It is much appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Peace.